Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Morning, Chase.
Good morning, Brent.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Nice.
My dogs have finally calmed down after the fireworks, hopefully.
That's you know what? My dog was super anxious yesterday. That makes sense.
You guys don't have CBD in Idaho, do you?
No, what is that?
It's like it's like the compound of the cannabis plant that like doesn't get you high but provides like the therapeutic effects.
Oh, you can give that to dogs?
Yeah,
Oh, no kidding. Calmed them
yep,
down. Calms them down.
it does. We gave ours some. It works.
Yeah, we had ours on lorazepam and something else, and
The
still
good
no
stuff.
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we live in a neighborhood that I think spends a lot of dough on blowing shit up. So
All right. Well, Chase,
ready to roll?
yeah, let's roll. I do think we have time for one or two gratitudes just to start the week. So let's grab a couple gratitudes while we wait for people to join. So I'm gonna start with Mike Morrison. Who or what are you grateful for this morning?
Well, I just heard the tail end of that conversation. So I am grateful that the 4th of July is over because I also have a dog who just hates that 2 or 3 day period. And uh, unfortunately, it's made my wife and I not really enjoy the 4th that much because we're just so worried about him and
That's the
we,
same here, Mike. Fourth of
yeah.
July is literally my favorite holiday, and
Yeah,
same exact experience,
it,
man.
it was my wife's before we had this dog, and now we just spend from about 9:30 till whenever it stops at 1 or 2. We're just kind of cuddling him in bed, and he's shaking, and yeah. So, but
So
hey,
don't get
so
dogs.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
Right
So
up
yeah,
what we're
so
taking out of
strange
this.
gratitude, but happy that's over because he can relax now, probably till New Year's. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. Let's go with Virgil. Who or what are you grateful for this morning, Virgil?
I was away from the computer for a second.
It's all right.
Yeah, just had a great weekend with the family. But same sentiment. I've got a golden doodle. I think Mike has one. Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Same thing. Just cuddling him, loving him all day, all night. But
Jeez.
still had a great
Yeah.
time.
Good. All right. Well, let's jump into it, Chase. In the interest of time, I want to make sure that we have time to get through all of this. So, today is the beginning of Tech Week. And so, for the next 5 days, we're going to talk about technology, and how to use it in your business. Surprisingly, we're not going to talk a ton about tech today. We're actually going to set the stage and your mindset around some of this stuff. And so today we're talking about tech doesn't replace you, it clones you. So we're going to dive into the mindset and the idea around leverage. And then Tuesday through Friday, we're going to dive into tools. So, meaning we're going to pull up a tool, we're going to show you how to use it in your business. So, and just a reminder, guys, on the whiteboard, yes, you can draw on the whiteboard.
Does anyone else want to test it out?
All right. So, Chase, a couple of things. Uh, with the it looks like you're kind of like going to walk through the dollar per hour.
Yeah, I
Um,
think
Go ahead.
I think in order for you to truly understand leverage and technology, by the way, is leverage. When you think of leverage, most of the time when I ask someone that, they think of like hiring someone. And hiring, people is a really good form of leverage, but systems, tools, and technology are where I would start when it comes to leverage. And since this is tech week, I think leverage, the whole point of leverage is using a lever to, be able to move more than you could on your own, right? So then let's talk about, why do we want more time? Like, why is it important for us to be in a scenario where we can actually get time back? So let's start with an agent's dollar per hour, Brent. Let's just start with helping a buyer. I think that's probably the best way to go. And I want everyone to participate here. So, I'm just going to start to list off things. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, one second. I'll get a new thing going here. I'm just going to start to list off activities. We'll start from like the top to the bottom here. Let's say the activity is finding a buyer. So this would be like actually I'll change it to prospecting. Prospecting for a buyer. If you were to sit down and prospect for a buyer client, how many hours would it take to find someone that's going to be a buyer? This is on the phone speaking to someone about buying real estate.
So are you talking about, once you find someone, how many hours did you invest in finding that one person, or how many hours do you spend looking for a buyer?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can look at a combo of both, but realistically, if you're talking to someone who's, considering buying, how many hours do you need to talk to them before they actually, decide to meet with you?
Well, considering some buyers don't even act until like they start searching online, and then they are ready to do something like around 6 months later. So you're probably talking to them at least once a month leading up to that.
Okay.
I don't know, probably like at least an hour, maybe 2 hours of conversation with them before you can get them in the door, maybe.
Okay, so
Depending
2
on where
hours.
they're at.
Let's call it 2 hours. Now we do a buyer consultation. So you meet with them at your office or a coffee shop or somewhere, and you review, answer all their questions, set up the custom search, go over paperwork. How long does that take?
Call it an hour.
1 hour? Even if you're like really bad, it could be like 1.5 hours or two, maybe. Let's round it up and call it 2 hours. Is there any world where it's going to take more than 2 hours? Probably
No,
not.
it should not.
Okay. All right. So now you've done the buyer consultation. Now it's time to go tour homes. Let's just say that you tour 3 homes, and you have to tour twice. So you tour 3 homes twice. How long does it take to tour a house? You got to drive there, tour it, drive to the next one, tour it, drive to the next one, tour it. How long does that take per house? This is the participation.
say
Jump in. What do you think?
30 minutes per
30
house.
minutes.
30 minutes per house. Okay, so 30 minutes a house. We'll say 6 houses. That's 3 hours of touring. 3 hours to tour a home. Now you got to write an offer. So you write the offer on the property. I don't know. That could take. Let's just say it takes 1 hour, and then you got to negotiate the offer. We might even go back and say it got rejected. We got to tour homes again. And let's just say that was only 1.5 hours because we only looked at 3 that time. So we've toured 9 homes now. We write the offer again. That's 1 hour. Okay. Now we got to, we're going to negotiate. Let's just say that's 1 hour. Now we've got to do the inspection. Some of you guys attend with the inspector. Don't recommend that personally, but every state's a little bit different and everyone's got their own preferences. But if you attend the inspection, it's going to take a lot longer, right? So if you go attend the inspection, that's going to take a couple hours, and then you negotiate the inspection, that's another hour there. So 2 hours for the inspection, negotiate inspection equals 1 hour. You guys tracking? Everyone good? We got to go show grandma, right? Grandma wants to see it. That's an hour. Closing. That's let's just say 1.5 hours. That'll round out our half an hour. What am I missing from this list?
I would say
This is
running,
the part where I want you to jump in.
So
Run comps?
Yeah.
That would probably be part of the writing offer, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you so we could round up the writing and offer part if you wanted to, but I honestly think that's probably right in the wheelhouse, especially if we have 2 hours for writing an offer. I think you're probably covered there.
I don't know if we're looping in any like TC or compliance stuff into closing or any of the other paperwork.
Yeah,
But
we could put if we don't have a transaction manager, that's a great point. So let's get transaction management in here. So actual time spent on transaction management, actual time. So like tire time, what do you think? 2 hours?
Yeah. So we're at 19 hours so far on this list.
Anyone double check Brent's math since you don't want to talk? If you're not talking, you double check Brent's math. Everyone else, what are we missing?
Missing the appraisal.
The appraisal. So what about it?
So if it doesn't come in where it needs to be.
Okay. So we're assuming the appraisal comes in low.
Could possibly happens.
Appraisal
Or
question
with
mark.
call outs.
We'll
Yeah,
take.
you could just do appraisal / call outs, like, yeah, probably an hour. So now you're at 20.
What about repairs?
Repairs. So like during the inspection, is that what you mean? Like we do inspection?
Handling
You come-
vendors.
Handling repairs.
Come back to verify the repairs were done.
So we'll call it final walkthrough.
Oh, and they wanted to go in a separate time to take measurements for.
What we're calling that grandma. We're calling that grandma. Grandma / measurements.
All right. So 20, are we at 21 hours?
2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12.
What about anything with the lender?
16,
Pre-approval or not
21.
pre-approval, just lender issues.
I would lump that into the hours spent before you even got them in the door.
Yeah, I agree. So 21 hours. Chase, what's the punchline here?
Well, the punchline, first of all, there's a reason I'm dragging this out as long as I am, guys, and I can see Brent's seething because you guys are not answering quick enough. So we got stuff to get to. But here's the deal. You guys got to believe what you're worth per hour. You have to believe it. So is there anything you don't believe about this? Okay, because by my calculations, like I'm thinking me with the buyer, I'm probably like 8 hours with the buyer, maybe 9, maybe 10, right? Some people are going to be 30, but I think 21 is a really, 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 really strong number. So now let's talk average price. I'm just going to use Boise because that's where we're at right now. Average price in Boise is over 600 grand. We'll just call it 600,000. So 600,000 is the average price. And let's just say your average commission ends up being $18,000. What's the dollar per hour on that? And let's just say you're on a team even. Let's back it off. 18 grand. Let's say you're only going to get half of that. So divide that by 2 equals $9,000. So what's 21 hours into $9,000, Brent?
Let's see. $428 an hour.
So in this scenario, this person is making $428 per hour while they're doing their work. So when we talk tech week, we're talking leverage. We're talking leverage to give you time back. So, if you can spend $20 or $30 per hour hiring someone or $20 or $30 a month for maybe a tech tool, Brent, and it gives you 1 or 2 or 3 hours back, that's giving you that $428 back. And the last thing I'll say, Brent, because this is where I got trapped. This is 2012. I'm getting ready to make my first hire. I didn't want to, but my mentor said, Chase, can you do your transaction coordination work? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I do it right now. He's like, are you good at it? And I was like, I'm the best. Even though I was not, I was pretty awful. And he's like, okay, how much would you have to pay someone to do it? And at the time I was like, maybe $12, $15 an hour. And he's like, let's call it 20. I said, yeah. So I'm saving 20 bucks an hour by doing it on my own. And he said, Chase, that's the difference between you and me. You are trying to save 20 bucks an hour, and I'm trying to make an additional $480 an hour because we were using a $500 an hour metric. This is 428, so it's slightly less, but you guys get the point. You're not saving 20 bucks an hour, you're losing $400 an hour. Go ahead, Brent.
So what does all of this have to do with technology? Here's what, like, we wanted to start the week helping you guys have some perspective and shift the way you guys think about tools and technology and what's available to you. So if your time's worth $428 an hour and there's the management side of your business, meaning there's stuff that you have to work on in order for that buyer to show up, in order for that seller to show up, in order for that transaction to close. There's things that you have to do. Now, Chase, you pointed out a team. On a team, what they're doing is someone on a team, they're just pre-investing in the leverage, right? Well, if you're independent on your own and you don't have technology, you don't have transaction management, you don't have any of these things, you're choosing to lose money during the time that you're doing those things. Now, the caveat to that, Chase, and this is the last thing I want to add before I kind of go into an idea for you guys using technology, is you're only losing the money if you don't choose to replace that time with high income producing activities. Meaning if you hire a transaction coordinator and they do all the transaction work for you, but you don't reinvest that time to go find more opportunities, then all you're doing is paying to get your time back to maybe go do something, maybe go on vacation, maybe go enjoy your family, and that's okay. But the point of leverage inside of your business is to free you up to do your highest income producing activities. What are the 5 things in real estate, Chase, that are the highest income producing activities?
Yeah, and you might write these down if you can, but I'm going to go fast. These are recorded. You can always go back and watch, but there's 5 ways you make money in real estate. There's lead generation, lead follow-up. You lead generate only so you can earn the right to follow up. There's no point in producing leads if you're never going to follow up with them. So you lead generate so you can follow up. 90% of your business, by the way, is going to come from follow-up. Go on appointments. So meeting with people face-to-face, belly-to-belly, writing and negotiating contracts. And then the last one is literally scripting, role-playing, practicing the first 4. That's pretty much it. Everything else, there's forms of leverage. I mean, even writing and negotiating contracts, you can leverage that out if you get big enough to the point where you can have someone do it for you. But those are the only money-producing activities. Everything else is just taking your time and honestly, distraction, or a potential distraction.
Yeah, that becomes everything else becomes a list for you to figure out how to create a system, a process, or leverage to solve it.
Yeah, and to your point, Brent, just to triple down, it doesn't mean those things aren't important. It just means they don't make money.
Yeah.
So now you got to figure out, how am I going to get these things done, and still produce money. And the top producers have figured out ways to get these things done without actually having to spend time on or spending less.
And that actually, I think that's a great point. What comes to mind when you say that is what high performing agents figure out is that you have to slow down to speed up. In order to scale, in order to have a business that honestly doesn't drown you and doesn't burn you out, you have to slow down and think through, what are those things that don't fall into the 5? And what is my system, process, person, or technology that helps take care of it? And that should be the working list that you work off of, because that's how you scale while still having a life. So I just want to unpack one for you guys today. I think this will be a good one for you guys to leave with. Which, if you don't have this done, this is a way to increase the amount of money you make. And this is a way for you to stay top of mind with your database. And it's a way for you to become known as the local expert. So your database starts to refer you. So if you don't already do this, I recommend you do. And it's to send a newsletter, an email newsletter. And you can do that weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly. The choice is yours. But let's say you have been doing a newsletter. Chase, if you were doing a newsletter today and you had no help and you had to go figure out what you were going to put in that newsletter, and then you had to construct it, and then you had to put it in your CRM, and then you had to send it, how long do you think that would take you?
Forever.
Okay, normal person.
Well, yeah, dude, I actually know this because I used to do it, Brent. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
I used to actually make my own newsletter. I had a recipe in it. This is how freaking old it was. I had a recipe. I had like a bunch of crap. It was clip art in like Publisher, and I would print it out and I would trifold it and mail it. I did all that. So I was actually sending it in the mail. So before I was emailing stuff, but honestly, like the actual creation of the newsletter, because I wanted it to be good. I didn't want to give everything that everyone was doing. So, I mean, no joke, like I probably spent like 6 to 7 hours a month creating a newsletter. Yeah. And it was clip art. Sorry. It was bad. I should go find one.
Got it. Okay. That's funny. So how many hours did you say?
Probably like 6 to 7 hours a month.
All right. So now let's go to a normal person. They could probably get it done in 4, probably wow. 2 to 4 if they're a normal person. Just kidding.
That hurts.
I just want to use 2 to make the point. 2 hours. Let's assume it takes you 2 hours.
And I bet it's crappy, by the way. You gotta put some time in.
On the low side, our highest income producing activities will pay us $428 an hour. Okay. So what's
$900 roughly?
Yeah, it's $900, right? That's $900 of time that we took to develop something that will lead generate, that will generate leads. But the management or building of it, that's not the lead generating part. The lead generating part is sending it and having it thoughtfully curated in a way that gets people to want to respond or read it, right? So this management side of things, $900. I talk to agents all the time who won't spend $100 or $200 a month on an AI system. They want the free version, right? They want the free ChatGPT, or they want the free Claude that's limited and won't give you exactly what you want. Now, will those AIs do something for you? Yes, they definitely will. But if you were to pay $200 a month, for example, for Claude today, you can have it on your desktop. You can have co-work. Co-work is where you can create tasks. So what I want to talk about today is prompt engineering, and then newsletter, and then we'll end with the concept of setting a task where once you create this thing, you can say twice a month, I want you to go do it. So you can tell the AI, go do it and deliver it to my inbox. You guys following me? Okay, so prompt engineering, what is that? One of the hardest things to learn or figure out is how to build a prompt. Meaning, how do you make the prompt give you exactly the result that you want?
This essentially is when you type into AI, that's a prompt. When you're asking a question, that's a prompt. Prompt engineering is a fancy way of like saying, how do you do it better? How are you asking better questions so you can get better results?
Yep. Okay. So here's, I said, I want to build a newsletter. That's what I want to do. But instead of using a prompt to get it out of my head of what I want the result of the newsletter to be, I just spoke to the AI and said, I want you to build me a prompt. I want you to create a prompt and ask me questions and figure out what I want in that prompt. Then you take that prompt and paste it into a new AI chat, and it will build out the result that you're actually looking for. A lot of times when we prompt, we'll have a lot of blanks or a lot of missing context. The AI will fill the context in for you if you prompt engineer with it. So here's an example of what I put in this morning. I want to build a newsletter that I can easily paste into my CRM to send to my people weekly or monthly. I want the prompt to build sections, and then I want it to start with what's going on locally, what's going on this weekend, it would be the next section, and then what's going on in the real estate market. And I'd like to have call to actions throughout. What else or what other questions do you have in order to build a really good prompt that I can put into ChatGPT or Claude for my local real estate newsletter? So that was the prompt I gave it. And then it came back with a whole set of questions. It said, great. And it even gave some advice. It's like, hey, I wouldn't put a lot of call to actions throughout because that actually reduces response rate. So it's, now going to give me advice.
Do you want to share your screen, Brent? What are you using? And so if I'm like ground zero, what am I even doing?
Okay. Let's see.
And we're going to go deeper on this. This is Tech Week. We're going to go way deeper into this throughout the week, by the way.
Yeah, I thought starting with prompt engineering would be the best for you guys if you're not using AI to the most that you can possibly use it for. We're going to get pretty intense throughout the week with some stuff that you can do with AI. But here's what it did is I put the prompt in and it's like, love this, a paste and send newsletter. And then it basically told me.
Well, real quick, Brent, let me just point something out.
Yep.
Imagine if, AI is not here. Go back to 2012 Chase. I did make my first hire, and that was one of the first things I got rid of is I had Janelle was my assistant at the time. I was like, I need you to take over this newsletter. And by the way, she made it way better than I did. But what'd she do? She's like, well, what do you want in it? What does it need to look like? What blah, blah, blah. And by the way, it wasn't questions as nearly as detailed as this, but it's the same exact process. If you went and hired someone, you'd be like, hey, I need a newsletter. I really want my clients to think, to know that I care about them. I want them to want to open it. I want them to want to get it every week or every month, whatever my cadence is. Help me make this. And then that hire you had would do that. That's the same thing that's happening here. It's going to be like, okay, well, how often do you want to send it? What kind of, look at the voice. Do you want the prompt to ask each agent 2 to 3 questions about their personality tone so every newsletter sounds like them? It's literally lining out. And all you have to do, by the way, which I think people should know, Brent, all you have to do is hit your microphone button and then just talk into and answer the questions.
Yeah, which is exactly what I did. I just basically read the questions and answered them as I went down. And then here it is. Here's the prompt. Okay. So now I took this prompt and I came over. I actually went into Cowork and I created a task. We'll dive into that later. But basically I put the prompt in here and then it said, great. Based on the prompt that we created originally, it was queued up to say, ask me these questions. There's 3 specific questions. So now I would go through and answer these questions. And then I hit generate and it's going to now generate, in this particular instance, it's going to send this particular newsletter to me every 2 weeks because I'm building it as a task inside of Cowork. Now I don't have to do the research. All I have to do is approve it or disapprove it. So when it sends it to me in 2 weeks, I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. Don't like that. Change this, change that. And it'll spit out a new one. And that will be my cue to create this newsletter on a bi-monthly basis.
Yeah, I actually have do you mind if I share my screen? Yep. I have a newsletter. I did this with Virgil, who's on here. And I'll show you what this actually looks like. So we were literally on a coaching call. I talked to him about it. It gave me this newsletter right here. This was in like a minute or 2. It spit this newsletter out. And then I said, give it to me in a PDF. It did. And then I said, hey, we really want this call to action to actually be a little bit different. We want it to be, about our real estate review. And it's like, oh, well, here's the change to that. So then, and Virgil, you remember we did this together. I was asking Virgil, I'm like, how are these numbers for his market? And he's like, they look really accurate to me. And then it shows Virgil's take. Virgil's like, we're no longer in the ultra hot sellers market of 2021, 2023. I mean, like these are, if Virgil's like, I would never say that. I'd say this. You literally just tell it. But we go from, and by the way, I think 2 hours is really, really, really short to make a really solid newsletter. If you were going to make a newsletter that looked like this, let me make this bigger. If you were going to make a newsletter that looked like this, that had all of these buttons on it, and all of these will be links, by the way, all of them will be links going right to your website. And so someone can click on and be like, oh, I want to see what's happening in Rupert or Shoshone. Like, if you actually did that, do you really think it'd take 2 hours, Brent? I mean, that would take me 50 years. There's no freaking way I could do it. I would never be able to do that. But there's all.
It would take me so long. And I think the part of it that actually is the biggest relief is that there's so much stress for me to think about even doing something like that. And so even the stress that it just takes off your plate to be able to get something generated like that from Claude, I think that's the biggest relief in my mind.
I think that's a great point, Virgil. I think a lot of us carry this invisible stress or anxiety around things we know we should do to improve our business, but we don't because of the time or the fear or the fill in the blank. And so we just end up living with that stress or that anxiety. And this is a great way to solve that.
So here's I've rounded this out. We don't really have time for takeaways. I just want to give you guys some feedback. So if you already have a newsletter and it's already hammered out and you feel great about it, go find something you don't feel great about and just go create a prompt and tell it to make a prompt for you, just like Brent did. That was what he did. He's like, hey, I know what I want. I don't even know how to ask you for it. What should I do? Help me create a prompt, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't have your newsletter or you want to see what it would do to your newsletter versus what you do, this is a great task. This should take maybe 10 minutes. And that's assuming you don't even have an account with some of these AI. Personally, I'm loving Claude right now. I think it's really, really, really good for this type of stuff. So I think your homework is go create a prompt to make a newsletter, see what it spits out, play with it back and forth, tell it what you don't like, tell it what you do. This is how you get a lot of leverage.
You told it to create an HTML version, right? And a lot of CRMs can just take an HTML and you just upload it in.
Yeah.
The HTML, and then you just send it. So it looks designed.
And Virgil's like, hey, how do I get this into my system? I'm like, I don't know. Let's ask. And I literally asked the AI and it's like, oh yeah, no problem. Do this. And I'm like, cool. That's how. So I'm not the most tech. I mean, I'm relatively tech savvy, but I'm certainly not creative at all. Like no creativity when it comes to designing newsletters. So ever since clip art went away.
All right, guys, it's 9:33. We are going to dive into some really good technologies over the next 4 days. It's
gonna be a fun week.
It'll bless your business. So hop on tomorrow. We'll see you at 9 a.m.
Have an amazing day, guys.